I'm just able to run.
I am Carolyn Holmes. I'm a law student a mile away at George Washington University, and I competed at nationals in 2005.
My name is Anna Buchanan. I'm an incoming student here at Georgetown Law. I'm also the one of the program class of 2007. I was in Unit 4, also competed at nationals.
I'm Steve Livengood. I'm a guide in the U.S. Capitol, and I get to talk about these issues to people every day.
So we have chosen today to do Unit 4, Question 2. And I will read it to you, and then you can start your answering in the wheelchair. So, in Federalist 74, Alexander Hamilton claimed that the propriety of the constitutional provision making the president commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy was so evident in itself that little needs to be said to explain or enforce it. Not everyone has agreed. What are the arguments for and against making the president the commander-in-chief? Article 2, Section 2 designates the president as commander-in-chief of the militia of the several states when called into the actual service of the United States. When and why have presidents used this authority? How and why has the conception of the power of the commander-in-chief been expanding since the time of Abraham Lincoln? You may begin.
Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution states, the President shall be the Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of several states when called into actual service of the United States. But there are different opinions about whether or not the President should be Commander-in-Chief, and this issue is important because presidential power has been expanded since the Civil War.
One argument against making the president the commander-in-chief is that the new and inexperienced president may not know what to do in time of crisis. For example, President Obama has not had any experience with the military, so he may not have enough insight into making the best decisions of time of crisis. Another reason is against making the president the commander-in-chief is that the president already has enough power and too much power to lead the tyranny.
On the other hand, a reason for making the president the commander-in-chief is it ensures that someone elected by the people is making our most important military decisions. Similarly, it ensures civilian control of the military. Civilian control is important because we live in a democratic republic, and the people are the ultimate source of authority. Also, the president has many advisors to provide information about military actions, even if the president does not have much military experience himself.
The president has used this authority to enforce civil rights laws such as the Leader of Knights. During this election, 9 African Americans to the position with majority white school Leader of Arkansas. The children face opposition when teaching in school, so President Eisenhower had to step in and send federal troops, the National Guard, to escort them to school.
Over the years, the power of the president has expanded, especially since President Lincoln. One reason is because the people expect the president to act energetically to address the nation's problems, especially in time of crisis or emergency. A second reason is due to the fact that the powers are not enumerated in the Constitution. Therefore, it is difficult to understand exactly what they are. The third reason for the growth of the executive power is the president's role in recommending legislation to Congress. That is why we say things like Obama's health care bill when it actually Congress has passed the health care bill.
More recently, President Bush expanded his presidential powers in the Iraq War to battle Al-Qaeda. President Bush claimed that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. The CIA told President Bush that there was no evidence that Iraq attacked the USA, and also that there were no weapons of mass destruction. Even with this evidence, the president's decision remained the same.
Presidential historian John Joe support the idea of a strong presidential power, while author Gary Wills argues against it. According to Wills, the commander-in-chief basically has control over the fate of the world. He also stated that the most important in the presidential part is the creation of the atomic bomb. The bomb forever changed the institution of the presidency. Since only the president controls the button, this is a monumental change because now the American president has strong powers and can literally destroy the planet.
It is our belief that with the ever-changing threats of today's society, it is appropriate that the president's power increases to some degree, but we need to ensure the system of checks and balances limit the president's ever-increasing power so that it doesn't increase too quickly and by too much.
Thank you. So I want to follow up on what you just ended with, Giselle, which is who should be able to overrule the commander-in-chief. So some national crisis happens, and commander-in-chief makes some immediate war power decision, but people don't like it. Like, what should be the check on that? Or what is the check on
The person in charge of the military should be the person that checks the president because he has more experience with the military and he would know what to do and like if we should send more troops or not.
I don't know, my partner say, I would say that the general should be the commander-in-chief. Like my partner say that they have more experience doing military decisions during wartime. So I would argue that the general should be the commander-in-chief.
that? So do you think we should pass a constitutional amendment, moving the commander-in-chief power away from the president?
I don't think so, because I argue that there should not be amendment or a law, just they have to prove that the general should be the commander-in-chief.
I would agree that that's a possible solution, seeing as how presidents usually don't have much military experience, whereas some presidents do, a lot of presidents don't.
Sort of talking about this growth of executive power, and you mentioned one of you the Iraq War, and so I'm curious how you feel this question fits in with the war on terror, and whether that situation qualifies as something that the commander-in-chief to execute these traditional military powers, or does he have the ability to take away some of our liberties in this war?
Can you say that question again?
Sure. So you spoke about the Iraq War and the president's role in that, and I'm curious about your feelings on the war on terror and how the president's role as the commander-in-chief should fit in with this sort of unconventional wartime situation.
Well, the war started when Bush sent troops, I believe. He sent troops to Afghanistan without the consent of Congress. And I mean, that was, I guess, in some sense it was wrong. And
I agree with my partner because the war on terror basically started that Bush sent troops over there in retaliation to the Twin Towers incident in New York, and he maybe didn't really have a real reason to why he did. He just say, "Oh, they did this, so we're gonna go over there and destroy their homeland or do things to them over there."
I agree with both my partners because in the war on terrorism, the president's power has increased by sending the troops to Iraq war without, like Garen said, without getting the consent of Congress.